Have you ever felt like your life was falling apart when changes occurred? That your familiar world was disappearing, leaving you alone facing a terrifying unknown? I want to tell you a story. Imagine someone who worked at the same place for 20 years. They had friends, stability, a predictable future, and suddenly everything changes. The company closes, and this person stands at a crossroads, not knowing what to do next. You know what happened next? 3 years later, they created their own business, found their calling, and said, "This was the best thing that ever happened to me." Today, I'm going to reveal to you the philosophy of change, something that will help you not just survive changes, but love them. Learn to see in every change not an ending, but a new beginning. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to share could transform your perception of life. Let's start with a simple truth. Change is the only constant in our lives. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." Why? Because both the river changes and you change. Every moment we are different. But why do we fear change so much? Our brains evolved in an environment where predictability meant survival. The unknown could hide danger. That's why we cling to the familiar, even when it doesn't satisfy us. Imagine a butterfly in a cocoon. If it could think, it would be terribly afraid of the moment when it has to leave its familiar safe space. But it's precisely this frightening moment of transformation that turns it into a beautiful butterfly capable of flight. The first principle of the philosophy of change is accepting impermanence. When you understand that everything in the world is temporary, you stop clinging desperately. You begin to value the present moment, knowing it's unique and unrepeatable. Buddhist monks create incredible mandalas from colored sand, spending weeks on the work. And you know what they do afterward? They destroy them. It's a reminder that beauty exists in the moment, not in eternal possession. The second principle is change as an opportunity for growth. Every change is an invitation to become a better version of yourself. A tree doesn't become stronger in calm weather, but when the wind tests its strength. Let's take a real example. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he himself created. It was humiliating and painful, but it was precisely this period that led him to create Pixar and Next, which later made his return to Apple triumphant. He himself said, "Getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have happened to me." The third principle of the philosophy of change is mental flexibility. Water flows around obstacles, taking any form. It doesn't fight, it adapts. And that's precisely why water can wear away even stone. When changes occur, ask yourself, what can this teach me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Changing your focus changes everything. You shift from the position of victim to the position of student. Imagine you're moving to a new city. You can think, "I've lost all my friends, I'm alone." Or you can think, "I have a chance to start over, create the life I've dreamed of, meet amazing people." The fourth principle is trusting life's process. Sometimes we don't understand the meaning of what's happening right now, but if we look back, we can often see how each event prepared us for the next stage. It's like a puzzle. When you hold one piece, it seems meaningless. But when you see the full picture, you understand that every element was in its place. Life is also such a puzzle, we just don't see it completely. There's a story about a farmer from ancient China. His horse ran away. The villagers said, "What misfortune?" He replied, "Maybe." The horse returned with wild stallions. People said, "What luck?" He replied, "Maybe." His son broke his leg taming a stallion. Misfortune, maybe. War began. Everyone was taken except his son because of the injury. Luck, maybe. This parable teaches us not to rush to judgment. What seems like a catastrophe today may turn out to be a blessing tomorrow. and vice versa. The fifth principle is active participation in change. Yes, we can't always control circumstances, but we can always choose our response. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power. Viktor Frankl, who survived a concentration camp, wrote, "Everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the freedom to choose one's attitude towards circumstances." If he could find meaning and hope in such conditions, what's stopping us from doing it in our changes? The sixth principle is that change begins within. Before changing your life, you need to change yourself. Before accepting external changes, you need to change your internal perception. When you change the lenses through which you look at the world itself changes. This isn't magic, it's psychology. Our brain notices what we're tuned into. If you're looking for problems, you'll find them. If you're looking for opportunities, you'll find them. The seventh principle is that change requires letting go. To take something new, you need to release the old. This applies not only to things, but also to beliefs, relationships, versions of yourself that you no longer are. Imagine a monkey that grabbed a nut in a narrow pitcher. It can't pull out its fist because it's holding the nut, but it refuses to let it go, even though doing so would make it free. We're often like that monkey. What are you holding in your fist? An old grudge? A job that hasn't brought joy for a long time? Relationships that have exhausted themselves? Fear of the future? The illusion of control? The eighth principle is change as creativity. Your life is a blank canvas. Every change is a new brush, a new color. You're the artist of your destiny, and changes give you tools to create a masterpiece. Pablo Picasso constantly changed styles. Blue period, rose period, cubism. He wasn't afraid to experiment, and it was precisely this diversity that made him great. Monotony is the enemy of creativity. Change is its fuel. The ninth principle is community support. Changes are easier to experience not alone. Find people who are also growing, changing, moving forward. Your environment either supports your changes or pulls you back. When geese fly in formation, they cover 70% more distance than alone. Each bird creates an updraft for the next. It's the same with people. Together, we're stronger. The 10th principle is practicing gratitude during change. Even in difficult moments, there's something to be grateful for. This practice resets your brain to positive perception. Every evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Even on the day of being fired, you can be grateful for the lesson, for freed time, for the opportunity to find something better. This isn't toxic positivity. It's choosing your focus. The 11th principle is change as spiritual practice. Many spiritual traditions teach that true growth happens through overcoming. A blacksmith doesn't create a sword without fire. A diamond doesn't form without pressure. Your trials are not punishment. They're initiation. They're the path to a deeper understanding of yourself and life. Every difficulty makes you wiser, stronger, deeper. The 12th principle is small steps. You don't have to jump into the abyss. You can take small steps toward change. Every day something small but new. A Chinese proverb says, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." Don't try to change everything at once. Start small. Change your morning routine. Meet a new person. Read a book on an unfamiliar topic. The 13th principle is that changes are cyclical. Nature teaches us this. After winter comes spring. After night, dawn. After storm, calm. Understanding cyclicality gives hope in difficult times. If it's hard now, and it's not forever. It's a season. It will pass, as all seasons pass, and something new will come in its place. Your task is to survive winter, knowing that spring is inevitable. The 14th principle is curiosity instead of fear. Children don't fear the new. They're curious. Somewhere on the way to adulthood, we lose this curiosity and replace it with fear. What if you approach change like a child approaches a new toy? I wonder what this is. How does it work? What happens if I try it this way? Curiosity opens doors that fear closes. The 15th principle is change as self-love. Sometimes the most loving action is allowing yourself to change, growing out of your old version, not betraying yourself by clinging to what no longer serves you. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago, and that's wonderful. Changing doesn't mean betraying your past self. It means respecting your present and future self. The 16th principle is keeping a change journal. Write down your thoughts, fears, hopes. In a year, reread it and be surprised at how much you've grown. It's a reminder of your progress. Records show patterns. You'll see what you feared before and how you coped. This creates confidence. I managed before, I'll manage now. The 17th principle is meditation and mindfulness. At the center of the storm, there's always silence. Meditation practice helps you find that quiet center within yourself, no matter what changes rage outside. Even 5 minutes a day. Just breathe. Observe thoughts without judgment. This trains your ability to remain calm in chaos, an anchor in a stormy sea. The 18th principle is physical activity. Body and mind are connected. When you move, your brain chemistry changes. Endorphins help cope with the stress of change. Yoga, running, dancing, walking, it doesn't matter. The main thing is movement. The energy of emotions transforms through body movement. Stagnation in the body creates stagnation in life. The 19th principle is visualizing your desired future. The brain doesn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined. Create a mental image of life after changes. What does it look like? What feelings does it evoke? Athletes use visualization to improve performance. Why not use it to navigate through changes? Seeing the finish line helps you run the marathon. The 20th principle is celebrating small victories. Don't wait for the end of the journey to celebrate. Mark every step. This reinforces motivation and reminds you that you're moving forward. Did something you were afraid of? Celebrate it. Made a decision? Praise yourself. Survived a difficult day? You're a hero. Small victories add up to big achievements. The 21st principle is seeking inspiration in other stories. Read biographies of people who overcame difficulties. See how they handled change. You're not alone in your journey. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison and emerged without hatred to unite a nation. Oprah Winfrey survived poverty and abuse to become one of the most influential women in the world. If they could, so can you. The 22nd principle is accepting the imperfection of the process. There won't be a perfect plan. There will be mistakes, setbacks, moments of doubt. That's normal. That's part of the process. Progress isn't linear. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 to the side, a jump forward. The main thing is the general direction. Don't get stuck in perfectionism that paralyzes. The 23rd principle is humor as protection. The ability to laugh at the situation and at yourself is a sign of strength, not weakness. Humor reduces anxiety and provides perspective. In 10 years, you'll laugh at what seems like a catastrophe today. Why not start laughing now? Not at the problem, but at the absurdity of our desire for control. The 24th principle is change as adventure. Reframe the narrative. This isn't a crisis, it's a quest. You're the main character of the story, and now is the most interesting chapter. In every good story, the hero faces trials. Without them, there's no growth, no transformation. One day you'll tell about your changes as the best adventure of your life. The 25th principle is serving others during your own changes. Paradoxically, helping others helps us ourselves. It gives meaning, perspective, reminds us that we're part of something greater. Volunteering, supporting a friend, an act of kindness to a stranger, all this creates positive energy that returns to you. We heal by helping others heal. The 26th principle is creating transition rituals. Acknowledge the old before entering the new. Write a letter to your past self. Conduct a symbolic completion ceremony. This is psychological closure of the gestalt. Rituals help the brain understand that one stage has ended, another begins. This gives clarity and permission to move forward without emotional baggage. The 27th principle is patience with yourself. Adaptation takes time. Don't compare your first chapter with someone else's 10th. Give yourself space to be a beginner in new circumstances. A tree doesn't grow overnight. A butterfly doesn't appear instantly. Everything in nature has its own pace. Respect your pace. Compare yourself only with yesterday's you. The 28th principle is trusting your intuition. Deep inside, you know what's right. Sometimes logic says one thing and the heart says another. Learn to listen to the quiet voice of wisdom within. Intuition is accumulated experience that speaks faster than the conscious mind. Don't ignore that feeling in your gut. It's often right when the head doubts. The 29th principle is change as coming home. Sometimes we get lost and live a life that isn't ours. Changes can return us to our true selves, to who we always were, beneath layers of expectations and fears. This isn't becoming someone new. This is revealing who you've always been. Changes remove masks, free you from other scripts. You're coming home to yourself. The 30th principle is love as the foundation. Act from love, not from fear. Accept changes with love for yourself, for life, for the process. Love is the most powerful transformative force. When you choose from love, even difficult decisions come easier. Ask yourself, what would a person who loves themselves do? And do that. Changes born from love always lead to growth. Friends, we've traveled an amazing journey today. 30 principles of the philosophy of change. But the main thing I want you to remember, change is not the enemy. It's a teacher, a friend, a guide to a better version of yourself. Yes, it will be scary. Yes, there will be moments of doubt. But remember, every butterfly was a caterpillar. Every dawn follows night. Every spring comes after winter. You're stronger than you think, wiser than you know, more capable than you believe. Changes won't break you. They'll reveal your potential. Start today. Take one small step toward the change you fear. Write in the comments, what change are you ready to accept right now? If this video touched you, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's create together a community of people who aren't afraid to grow, change, and live life to the fullest. If we reach 5,000 likes, I'll film a continuation with specific daily practices for transforming your life. Remember, you're not going through changes. You're becoming through them. And that's the most beautiful adventure of all. See you in the next video.